There's not enough hours in the day, is there? I mean, there's just not enough time. How often do you find yourself saying this? Be honest with yourself. I hear it so much. And I think two things are happening. One, you really believe it's true. You really believe there's not enough hours in the day to get done what you want to get done. The second thing is, I think there's a little bit of what's the word? A thing around being busy. Like busy means you're important. Busy means you're successful. Busy must mean you have a successful job. It kind of, I hear people saying, "Oh, are you busy? Are you keeping busy?" As if being busy means you're making money. And I don't actually want to be busy. And I want to make money. And I really believe you can make money without being busy. So I'm going to address both of those in today's podcast. If this is you, if you're not enough hours in the day, lady, listen up. What I will actually say is if you haven't listened to my time management um, podcast in my welcome series, this is going to complement that beautifully. I'm not going to go into the logistics of time management, but I am going to talk about today how you're spending your time. And this is what I see. And I'm saying this without judgment. I'm saying this with a whole heap of love. I see people coming to lunch, they're choosing to come to lunch, and then they sit at lunch. I don't want to use the word moaning, but they are really. Oh, just not enough time. I've got so much to do. I just don't seem to have enough time to do it. And then they choose to sit on social media, scroll on social media. And then they choose to check all their inboxes, like check their inboxes to make sure they've got everything covered. And then they choose to go and have a snack or put the kettle on. And then in the evening, they choose to maybe sit and watch Netflix and, maybe scroll again on social media, or they choose to go and exercise. So have you noticed here? I've used the word choose, and I've done that very deliberately because here's the truth. You have exactly the same amount of hours in the day as every other human on this planet. We have defined time as 60 seconds in an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. You have enough time. What you may not be doing, however, is very deliberately choosing how to spend that time. And I witnessed a conversation between two people the other day, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, life's just so busy, isn't it? I don't know how I'm going to get it all done. There's just not enough hours in the day." And yet they'd spent 2 hours over a lunchtime, probably an hour getting there and an hour getting back. So 4 hours of their day, they had chose to do this activity. So this is about looking at your time and very deliberately choosing how you spend it. And if you are choosing to spend your time, so I do a lot of networking. I really enjoy in-person networking, and I do a lot of in-person networking as a way to, first of all, to give me the social side of working, but also to grow my business. So I know that those days that I'm networking, I am not going to have that. I'm choosing to spend my time networking rather than choosing to spend my time on on the administration of my job or coaching my clients. But that's a choice. And it's so much more powerful to say to yourself, I am choosing to go to lunch instead of choosing to do my work. I am choosing to watch Netflix rather than choosing to read or learn that new skill or do some admin. I am choosing to check my inbox again instead of writing that report. I am choosing to go and exercise rather than sitting at my desk. Now, I am not saying for 1 minute here what you should or shouldn't be doing. That is none of my fucking business. None of my business whatsoever. I would just love to invite you to stop beating yourself up about the amount of time you don't have or you think you don't have when you are choosing to spend time doing something else. That torture that you're putting yourself through is optional because you have time. You have enough time. You're just choosing to spend your time doing different things. And that's okay if that's what you want to do. Now, there might be a point in time when you sit down with your logical higher brain, and this is what I love to do with my clients, right? We sit down with our higher brains and we look at the facts. And we sit down and we decide, right, and I do this for myself. I want to work X amount of hours. So let's say I want to work 5 hours a day, for example. If I then have administrative tasks, or so I generally coach my clients for an hour. If I only want to work 5 hours a day, I'm not going to then book in 7 clients because that's 7 hours. Or if I've got an administrative task that's going to take me 10 hours, there may be a factual time when you are very deliberate about how you're spending your time and you're focusing fully on a task. And I am not saying that has to be for 20 hours a day, it might only be 1 or 2 hours. But when you've got the skill of focusing and being deliberate about how you spend your time, it might be the fact that you don't have enough hours or you don't want to spend the amount of hours it's going to take. Well, then again, you have a choice. And your choices are, can you delegate it to somebody? Can someone else do this task? Are you in a position to outsource or get your kids involved or ask your husband to do it? Or maybe, you could ask a neighbor or a friend. So delegate. Is it a task that you literally just need to do? Is it literally a 5 minute phone call that you just need to pick up the phone and do it? If the case, just do it. So can you delegate it? Can you do it? If you can't, if that's not the case, can you diarize it for another day or another week? And if it's none of those three things, chances are you can delete it. Chances are you're filling your time doing something that doesn't actually need to be done. So if it is a fact that you have more things to do than you have time, you still have a choice about what you do with that. But the first step is to sit down and look at the facts because I don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. That's going to create overwhelm. And most people from overwhelm sit spinning in an activity that isn't actually what they want to get done. So when you've done the process of looking at the facts, managing your mind, starting to calendarize your time and be very deliberate about how you want to spend it, I've completely forgotten where I was going with that. That's hilarious. I could stop the recording and start again, but I'm not going to do that because I've scheduled a certain amount of time. That's really funny, but my menopausal brain just kicked in. But once you've sat down and you've looked at it from a very logical perspective, then you get to overcome your brain over it. And last week I did a procrastination and all about procrastination. So again, along with the time management process and the procrastination episode, this will really complement both of those two really well. But ultimately, one, I don't think it's a badge of honor to be busy. I don't see that as a sign of success. And I invite you to not either. So when someone asks me, "Oh, are you busy?" I'm like, "Well, what's your definition of busy? If by busy do you mean is my business successful and when I'm making money? Yes. If by busy do you mean I'm hustling, stressed, and overworking, then no, because I don't buy into that. So busy is an emotion that you're creating by this thought there's not enough time, I'm not doing it good enough, I need to do it better. Like that thought process is creating the busyness feeling. You can take exactly the same actions from a very calm place because you know you're going to get it all done. Two very different ways of working. So just know, I think the thing that I want you to take away from this episode is that you have a choice. You get to choose how you spend your time. It's not my business how you do that, but you get to decide. And if you are choosing to procrastinate, if you are choosing to scroll, if you are choosing to watch Netflix or sit in the sun or whatever, don't then self-torture yourself. Don't put yourself through the torture of moaning that you don't have enough time because you do. You're just choosing to do something different about it. And a choice is so much more powerful than what it feels like having no choice at all. That's what you can control. You can't control time. You can't manipulate time, but you can control and manipulate how you spend the time that you have. So that's what I have for you this week. Have a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you all again next week.